Hello, this is Marcus Newman, the Eastside video editor. Today, I am talking to Scout Pullano and Max Gaffin about the recent town hall meeting that was held with Dr. Perry and Dr. Meloche regarding what the remainder of the school year looks like with all the COVID precautions still in place. Basically, it was a discussion between East students and the East administration and the Cherry Hill Public Schools administration, facilitated by the Board of Education themselves, about what things are going to look like going forward. So you guys, do you want to introduce yourselves?
Yes, I'm Scout Pullano. I'm an Eastside community editor, and I'm also the president of the class of 2022.
Yeah, and hello, my name is Max Gaffin. I am one of Eastside's features editor, and I am the one of the school-wide SGA vice presidents.
Okay, so the first thing I'm going to ask, the Outlook school emails that every student was issued has been a large source of confusion for most of the students. So was this discussed at all?
I guess Scout, if you want, I could take this one. So many students, as we have heard, were kind of disappointed and frustrated with the overwhelming Outlook and how kind of overwhelming Outlook is, as many students weren't used to using this application for their emails in general. And we have heard some concerns over Google Classroom notifications being doubled as you're getting a notification on your phone from Google Classroom, and then it's also being sent to your Outlook email. So we heard this was a sense of frustration and confusion, but in total, after some research, we have found that students are able to turn off their Google Classroom settings on Google Classroom, so they could turn off email notifications so they don't get these emails twice. And as well, on Outlook, I know many students were confused with how this application is really used in general. So East is planning on sending out a few guides on how to really use Outlook and the importance of it, and some tips and tricks, as East is familiar with it, the East administration. So so basically a video will be sent out on how to kind of use Outlook and how to make subfolders and some of the other cool tricks that Outlook allows students to do.
Good to know. Okay.
And then one more thing before we move on, Scott, do you want to talk about kind of what we discussed with the security concern?
Yeah, so just regarding the security and privacy of CSCL accounts, it's encouraged that students switch their passwords in order to log out any other users in order to secure their privacy.
Cool. Okay. So finals week, we're in the beginning of the third marking period now, so finals are definitely getting closer. Obviously, there were no finals last year, which was a curveball for a lot of people, but what are finals going to look like this year, and what should students do to prepare for them?
I can take this one, Max. So this was also discussed. We were talking about what was it called? The benchmark, the portfolio. Yes, the portfolio. So that was used in place of the benchmark, and they're thinking that we'll use that for the finals in place of an actual test. And this is just to better show our improvement and our growth over the year, rather than sitting down and taking a test.
Yeah, I agree. And I know I know Cherry Hill has also been in contact with other school districts, and a bunch of other school districts, especially in our South Jersey community, have really been steering away from assessment, test assessments, and more gearing towards portfolios or capstone activities, and as a way to kind of show comprehension of what students have learned throughout the entire year. And I mean, even looking in my own opinion, I honestly really like this idea much better. I'm not the best test taker, but I think being able to look back at my whole year laid out in some sort of project or portfolio will really help me if I'm ever just want to come back to all my notes or anything that I've really learned over this year. So I think I like what East is planning on doing with finals for this year.
So the next question I have for you is regards to mainly seniors. Does it look like there will be a graduation? Like, if so, what will it look like? How will that go?
So it is planned to have graduation at the Leocora Center at Temple, but depending on the capacity at that time, like indoor, well, Leocora is indoor, so we would have to see the capacity, the indoor capacity. And if it's too small to hold all the students at East, then they're looking for outdoor locations and different alternatives to solve this problem.
And also right now, it's tentatively scheduled June 17th at the Leocora Center, like Scout said. But yeah, so just like East has to follow COVID precautions and the important restrictions following that. So, and East is obviously hoping to hold all of their end of the year activities.
So another question regarding seniors. Well, not just seniors, but mainly class dances. Obviously the senior prom's the big one, but all class dances haven't happened yet. And does it look like they're going to happen? If so, like where, when, how are things going to be affected?
Well, like as you said, none of them have happened yet, but we're looking for them to happen later in the year. Most likely May. I know the seniors and juniors have already started looking at outdoor locations for their proms. Due to the same problem with graduation, we're just considering the indoor capacity at that time and we want everyone to be there. So we're thinking about maybe splitting up the grades, like say juniors, their prom will be held outside, but not everyone will be together at the same time. It'll be on the same night, but just different groups will go at different times. I'm sure similar solutions will happen with freshmen and sophomores, and their dances will occur later in the year, like May, I would say.
So this one's entirely geared at seniors. Senior trip, was that a topic of discussion at all?
I don't think that was brought up too heavily. I know senior trip, a lot of it is still in question, which is unfortunate because obviously East really wants to hold senior trip, but clearly we have to follow restrictions and ensure that everything is being rolled out safely and to the best of our manner. I know senior trip, I think families were given the opportunity to get their money back if they don't feel safe going. But besides for that, I don't think there has been that many updates besides for the fact that it has been pushed back later in the year, just like all of many of our other activities.
All right, so this is the big headliner, what everybody's been waiting for. Clearly, there's been a lot of push for a change in the hybrid learning schedule that we're currently doing. Students have been very adamant on getting a lunch period back into the school day. Any headway made on that front?
I could start and then Scout if you would want to continue on anything that I may have missed. But yeah, so definitely there's clearly been a lot of push by students at East, and they've been expanding on their student voice, which is very important and which is a good thing that students really want to push for change. And East and Cherry Hill Public Schools as a whole knows that students want this lunch period back. And so there has been some push to move forward with implementing a lunch period. So I know sometime next week, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a meeting held between staff members of Cherry Hill East, Cherry Hill West, and Cherry Hill, the Malberg High School, the alternative high school, to discuss what this would entail, like what would entail when when holding this new with this new lunch period. However, there are some kind of ultimatums with this addition of lunch period. There needs to be at least 4 hours of classroom instruction, of curriculum time, in order for it to actually count as a school day. And right now we have all of our classes at a little over 1 hour. So which is like, so we are like just at that kind of limit now. And also, but East is looking to create some sort of mental health, physical health break to kind of get off the computer. So maybe an addition of like a 10 to 20 little minute, 10 like little break in the middle of the day.
Yeah, after talking to administration, it's very clear that they are trying to push for this break in order to benefit all of us and all of the teachers. And there's an extreme push for lunches on Mondays, especially because we're all remote, and that schedule can be fixed around a break a little bit easier than it would be in school, since there are more logistics that need to be figured out if students are taking off their masks and need to be socially distanced and eating safely in the schools. So this is being worked on by administration at the moment, and I'm sure there will be information coming out soon regarding this issue.
Yeah, and so so like Scout was saying, they need to like look at all the logistics of how to make this work, because clearly it's not safe for everyone in school to just take off their masks and start eating during a lunch period. So East is like looking to see like how they can make this work, obviously in the most safe way possible. And we are unable to start earlier because of transportation issues with the middle school and the high schools. But we may be able to end after 2:30 if that is like kind of a takeoff, if students want this lunch period during the day. But there is an extreme push, and East has definitely heard this push for a lunch period. So there is already, the ball's already rolling on getting some of the logistics worked out, and kind of just seeing how this could work, but in the safest way possible.
Well, it sounds like whatever comes to fruition, people will be more satisfied with it than what we currently have. I hope everybody who watched this video could walk away having learned something, taken something away from this, get excited about something that's happening in the near future, because there's not much that has happened. So thank you guys for doing this interview for me. We're sharing everything you learned at that town hall meeting. It's been fun, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Marcus.
Yep.